My relationship with Stevie is fragmented.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of love there, but you have to begin with the fact that in order to get through those early days.
Just now, devastating news hit about Stevie Nicks, throwing the rock world into chaos. Once high school sweethearts turned rock legends, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham's saga has been a roller coaster of smash hits and heartbreaking splits. Their fiery end left everyone in shock, and the sparks kept flying even after Buckingham's stormy exit from Fleetwood Mac in 2018. Rumors are flying about deep conflicts and unresolved issues still simmering between him and Nicks. We are going to expose the shocking secrets that could rewrite their entire story. The Fleetwood Mac saga. From their teenage love story in high school to becoming legends in rock music, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham's journey has been filled with ups and downs. Their intense connection, their many hit songs, and their painful breakup shook the music world, but that was just the start. Why did he leave Fleetwood Mac in 2018? What really happened behind the scenes? The answer, shrouded in years of tension and mystery, is more shocking than anyone could have imagined, and it's a secret that we will uncover soon. It all began in a high school in Palo Alto during the late 1960s. This chance meeting would change the future of rock music. They were two young dreamers with big hopes and raw talent ready to take on the music world. But they had no idea what was coming. A path filled with incredible achievements and deep heartaches. He was already known in the local music scene with his band Fritz when he first saw her. Her captivating presence and powerful voice seemed like a perfect fit for his band. After some hesitation, he asked her to be the lead singer. On stage, they were magnetic together. Their voices blended in a way that captivated audiences everywhere. Off stage, though, they remained just friends, each dating other people, unaware of the deeper bond that was forming between them. As the 70s began, Fritz disbanded, but for them, this was just the end of one chapter and the start of another. Driven by their passion for music, they left their hometown and headed to Los Angeles, determined to make a name for themselves. This big move also marked the beginning of their romantic relationship. But their journey to LA wasn't easy. He got sick with mononucleosis, putting their plans on hold. During this tough time, she took care of him, which only made their bond stronger and set the stage for their future together. In 1972, they arrived in Los Angeles both as a couple and as musical partners under the name Buckingham Nicks. They poured their hearts into their first album, but it didn't do well commercially, and they were dropped by their label. Even so, they refused to give up. He took on work as a session guitarist, and she waited tables. They lived a simple life, which later inspired their beloved song, Gypsy. Then, in 1974, while dealing with the ups and downs of life, their luck changed. Mick Fleetwood, in search of new talent for the band, found their album. He was impressed by his guitar skills and invited him to join. He had one condition: she had to be included too. It was all or nothing. This led to a key dinner where she and Christine McVie hit it off right away. Without even playing a single note, they were invited to join, quickly taking them from struggling artists to international stars. But this wasn't their hardest challenge yet. Joining was just the beginning of a roller coaster ride. When they first joined, the atmosphere was full of excitement. They met the band in a dimly lit rehearsal space in 1974, unaware of just how much this meeting would change their lives forever. Their journey took them from unknown musicians to legends in rock music. The air was thick with cigarette smoke and the smell of new opportunities buzzing with excitement. Mick Fleetwood, a tall and commanding presence, stumbled upon the album Buckingham Nicks by sheer luck. He was instantly captivated by his impressive guitar skills and wanted him to join. However, he was deeply committed to her and made it clear they were a package deal. Either both of them joined or neither would. This decision, driven by love and a shared artistic vision, would forever change rock music. The stage lights came on and everything changed. The unseen forces behind their rise. When they started to perform, a special kind of magic filled the room. Their voices blended so well that it sent chills through everyone who heard them. Christine McVie, the band's talented keyboardist, felt an immediate connection with her, as if all the missing pieces had suddenly come together. The band decided quickly. There were no formal auditions because their instincts told them these two were the right fit. For them, this was a much-needed break since their dreams were slowly fading in Los Angeles, where they were barely getting by. Now they were on the brink of stardom. But this wasn't the end of their challenges. This move wasn't just about their careers, it was deeply personal too. Their already fragile relationship would now be under the harsh spotlight of fame. They chose to live together again, determined to make both their love and professional lives work. As they began recording with the band, their sound took on a new life. His inventive guitar playing and ideas fit perfectly with the band's style, while her unique voice and haunting songwriting added a fresh energy. Songs like Rhiannon and Landslide began to take shape, hinting at the success that lay ahead. They began to tour with small crowds, but their audiences grew larger as word spread. She, with her flowing dresses and magnetic stage presence, quickly became a standout. Her powerful voice and emotional performances drew fans in, while his guitar solos were just as captivating. But as their fame grew, so did the pressures. The endless touring, constant media attention, and temptations of the rock star lifestyle began to strain their relationship. The fame they had dreamed of now threatened to tear them apart. Still, their musical partnership remained strong. In the studio, they pushed each other creatively, crafting songs that would define a generation. The tension between them only seemed to fuel their creativity, adding a deep passion to their music. Their hard work paid off with the release of the band's self-titled album in 1975, a celebration of their new musical direction and their undeniable chemistry. Songs like Rhiannon and Landslide shot up the charts, cementing the band's place in rock history, but this wasn't the worst of it. As the album became a massive hit, their fame skyrocketed. They were caught in a whirlwind of sold-out concerts, endless interviews, and adoring fans. For Stevie and Lindsey, it was a dream come true, but it was also a harsh reality check for their fragile relationship. The relentless touring schedule pushed everyone to their limits. On stage, their chemistry was electric, captivating audiences night after night. Yet off stage, their bond was slowly falling apart. As their songs topped the charts, the pressure to match their previous success grew, and their personal lives took an even bigger hit. Their once fairy tale romance was now hanging by a thread. While Fleetwood Mac reached new heights, the cost of fame weighed heavily on them, setting the stage for their most iconic and emotionally charged work yet. Which song from the Rumors album best captures the band's internal struggles? Stay tuned to find out. Her voice was soft and filled with emotion, bringing back memories of their past together. The words she sang, "Thunder only happens when it's raining," seemed to capture their fading romance and the independence they were finding on their own. This song would soon become their first #1 hit in the United States. Meanwhile, things weren't easy for the other band members either. Christine and John McVie were going through a divorce, and Mick Fleetwood was dealing with his own marital problems. The recording studio felt like a pressure cooker, with emotions running high and almost every session ending in arguments. Still, they kept going. They knew the importance of the music they were making and wouldn't let their personal issues stand in the way. They managed to put their feelings aside, turning their pain and anger into their art. The result was a collection of songs that were honest, deeply emotional, and musically outstanding. As their personal lives became more tangled with their music, songs like The Chain began to take shape, reflecting the complicated relationships within the group. Despite all their conflicts, they remained connected by their music, bound together by the very songs they created. Now they faced their toughest test yet, the making of an iconic album. But this wasn't even the hardest part. Making the album Rumors became a kind of therapy for the band. It gave them a way to express feelings they couldn't handle in regular conversations. Stevie Nicks wrote Silver Springs, a deeply emotional song about her relationship, which was so powerful it didn't make it onto the original album. Later, it became a favorite among fans. Throughout the making of the album, they were walking a tightrope between working together and fighting. Even though their relationship was breaking apart, they still managed to create magic in their music. Their voices blended beautifully, and their creative connection stayed strong. The album, which took almost a year to complete, was a tough effort filled with personal chaos. But by the time Rumors was finished, they all felt they had created something special. All the hardships they had gone through had been turned into music that spoke to millions. When the album was released in February 1977, it quickly captured hearts around the world. Its honesty and musical brilliance struck a chord with listeners everywhere. Songs like Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way, and Dreams became anthems, with fans diving into the lyrics to understand the complicated relationships within the band. But the success of the album was bittersweet. As Rumors soared up the charts and won awards, they were forced to relive their breakup every time they performed. Each time they sang Go Your Own Way, it brought up a mix of emotions. The sharp lyrics and powerful presence created a tension on stage that fascinated audiences. Yet this was only part of the story. The album's success came with a personal cost, but it also solidified their place in rock history. It sold over 40 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling albums of all time. It became a powerful example of how art can come from pain and how chaos can lead to something beautiful. For them, Rumors marked the end of their romantic relationship, but the beginning of a complicated, lasting musical partnership. They continued to work together, their shared experiences adding depth to their performances. The album became a cornerstone of their careers, showing how they could succeed together even, or perhaps because of, their stormy past. Determined not to accept his situation quietly, Buckingham decided to take bold action. He launched a legal fight against his former bandmates, accusing them of breaking promises, violating agreements, and blocking his potential earnings. At the heart of the conflict was an upcoming concert tour, a lucrative opportunity from which Buckingham was excluded, costing him the chance to make millions, but he didn't stop there. Buckingham also took his fight to the public. He gave numerous interviews sharing his side of the story and revealing the inner workings of one of rock's most famous bands. His statements painted a picture of betrayal and disappointment, focusing not just on his removal, but also on how his former bandmates handled the situation. He pointed to Stevie Nicks, his ex-partner and longtime musical collaborator, as the main reason for his departure. Buckingham claimed that Nicks gave the band an ultimatum: it was either him or her. This revelation added another layer to the already complex relationships within the band, hinting at unresolved issues that had been simmering for years. The band, however, chose to stay quiet, releasing only carefully worded statements that kept a professional front. Their silence fueled more rumors, leading fans to wonder about the real reasons behind Buckingham's exit. The legal battle eventually ended with a settlement out of court, but the emotional fallout was significant, creating a rift in the band that was felt by both the members and their fans. Despite bringing in new members and continuing to tour, the absence of Buckingham's unique guitar style and vocal presence was noticeable. For many fans, his departure marked the end of an important era in the band's history. Fame brought bright lights, but deeper shadows. Harmony and discord. But this wasn't the end of the story. In September 2021, Stevie Nicks finally spoke up, offering her version of events. She explained that the dispute began over a disagreement about tour dates. Buckingham wanted to delay the tour to focus on his solo projects, while Nicks wanted to stick to the original schedule. The breaking point for Nicks came during an event where she felt Buckingham had behaved disrespectfully during her speech. Feeling that his actions were mocking and dismissive, Nicks decided she needed to step back from what she saw as a toxic situation. She stressed that her decision wasn't about pushing Buckingham out, but about protecting her own well-being, even in the challenging world of music fame. Their relationship had always been intense, filled with both passion and creativity, captivating the public for years. Their romance and eventual breakup inspired some of Fleetwood Mac's most iconic songs, blending their personal drama into music history. Even now, it's hard not to wonder if some of those old feelings still linger beneath the surface. In a later interview, Buckingham hinted that Nicks might still have feelings for him. This surprising comment brought fresh attention to their complicated relationship, suggesting that their connection was something timeless, preserved in the music that told the story of their love and heartbreak. But that wasn't the only revelation. Buckingham also reflected on a time when, even after their breakup, their bond remained strong. He offered a rare glimpse into the complicated emotions they both navigated throughout their careers. Buckingham even speculated that Nicks might still feel something for him, adding yet another twist to their already tangled story. At the center of these reflections was Rumors, the band's groundbreaking album, which captured the internal struggles. Buckingham suggested that the intense pressure of recording the album might have made it harder for them to resolve their personal conflicts. The studio became a place where their unspoken emotions played out in their music, each track reflecting the turmoil they couldn't openly discuss. Working so closely with Nicks during this difficult period was surreal, Buckingham recalled. They had to put aside their personal pain for the sake of their professional work. He believed this need to suppress their true feelings might have kept them from finding the closure they needed to truly move on. Yet despite these struggles, they managed to create music that stood the test of time, showing their resilience and dedication to their art. This story not only reveals the complexity of their relationship, but also highlights the lasting impact of their creative partnership. The same pain that fueled their creativity also kept them trapped in a cycle of old hurts, making it hard for them to move on from past heartaches. This balancing act between personal pain and professional success often shows up in rock music's history, but it's rarely talked about so openly. As Lindsey Buckingham looked back on their shared history, he thought about how their lives went in different directions after their breakup. He found love again and started a family. While Stevie Nicks put all her energy into her music, Buckingham wondered if these different paths affected how they still felt about each other. In the ever-changing world of rock music, their story stands out. With recent talk of a possible reunion, a new chapter could be unfolding. At the center of this is Lindsey Buckingham, the former guitarist and talented songwriter whose sudden departure in 2018 surprised fans and shook up the music world. The passing of Peter Green, the band's original founder, in 2020 sparked new conversations about getting the band back together. Mick Fleetwood, the well-known drummer, reached out to Buckingham to express his condolences and to heal old wounds, hinting at a possible reunion, a major step in their difficult past. This gesture, based on mutual respect for a fellow musician who had passed, showed that two rock legends were finding common ground. Talk of a reunion stirred old memories and new hopes. Dreams of a legendary reunion. As rumors of their reunion spread, the idea of seeing them together on stage again created excitement and hope for one last chapter in their epic story. Mick Fleetwood even suggested a farewell tour, thrilling fans with the chance to see one of the greatest bands at their best once more. Buckingham expressed that he was open to putting aside past grievances for the sake of their musical legacy. His words suggested he was ready to focus on what they had achieved together instead of dwelling on old conflicts. But coming together again is not simple. The complicated relationships, especially between Buckingham and Nicks, who share a history of intense love, creative partnership, and a dramatic split, create real challenges for any reunion. Restoring not just their working relationship but also their personal connection would be key. Still, the idea of a reunion fascinates many. It represents a chance for the band to revisit their shared impact and for fans to relive the powerful performances that shaped their musical memories. But this isn't the biggest challenge. In a music world where many famous bands are saying goodbye with final tours, their reunion could go beyond mere nostalgia. Given the band's stormy past and Buckingham's sudden exit, their return would be more like a moment of redemption in the history of rock and roll. Yet this reunion is still just an idea. Even though Fleetwood and Buckingham's efforts to make amends are encouraging, getting all the members on the same page, resolving old issues, and planning a major tour are no small tasks. The recent passing of Christine McVie adds another layer of difficulty, as any future plans would need to honor her memory while still allowing the band to move forward. As these discussions continue, the different paths taken by the members continue to shape their lives outside of the band, setting up a story that explores both their personal and professional journeys. After the band's incredible journey came to an end, the music didn't stop. It just moved into a new phase of creativity and personal achievements for the famous members. Each of them started their own paths as solo artists, exploring their unique musical styles without the restrictions of being in a band. Stevie Nicks led the charge in this new direction. Known for her magical voice and emotional lyrics, she quickly became one of rock music's greats. In 1981, she bravely stepped into the solo spotlight with her first album, Belladonna, kicking off a long career that would produce many memorable songs over the years. Her solo music shows her growth as an artist, with powerful songs like Edge of 17 and The Softer Leather and Lace. These tracks not only captured the hearts of listeners, but also showed her unique talent for storytelling through music. Interestingly, Nicks wasn't always eager to go solo. She admitted that before 1981, she had no desire to do so, proving how life can take unexpected artistic turns. One of the highlights of her career came in 2019 when she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist. This made her the first woman to be honored twice, a recognition that highlighted her huge impact on the music world, both with the band and on her own. But this wasn't the end of her story. Nicks didn't just rest on her past successes. In recent years, she collaborated with modern artists like Miley Cyrus, showing that her music still resonates with new generations. Her 2021 tour, which included shows at famous venues like the Hollywood Bowl, proved that her talent remained strong even after many decades. While Nicks shined on her own, other band members also made their mark. Christine McVie, the band's beloved keyboardist and singer, took on her solo career with albums in 1984 and 2004, offering a fresh take on her unique style. Her 2017 duet album with Lindsey Buckingham showed that the creative spark among the members could flourish even outside the band. But this wasn't the only challenge they faced. Christine McVie's story came to a close in November 2022 when she passed away at 79, leaving a deep void in the music community. The band honored her as an irreplaceable and incredibly talented figure. At the 2023 Grammy Awards, Mick Fleetwood, Sheryl Crow, and Bonnie Raitt gave a touching tribute by performing her song Songbird, a beautiful way to celebrate her lasting impact. While we reflect on the remarkable journey of Christine McVie, one can't help but wonder about the dynamics within Fleetwood Mac. How much did internal relationships shape their music and legacy? Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more.